question was prior. So, Cole, I'm just going to start with you, and you can read your question and then answer it. Oh, you have a microphone? Okay.
Right? Hello? Hello? Okay. This says, what is your favorite time to ask for the order? So I'm assuming this is, for a customer. So what I always say when I pick up the bottle, when I pick up a sample, well, the first thing I always ask, what did you like best? And then let them say something. And then I always ask, would you like to get your own 30-day results risk-free? When I pick up the bottle, that's what I ask. Would you like to get your own 30-day results risk-free? And I wait for them to say something. That's it. If I'm at a party, or if I'm going to sit down and there's people interested in a brand partner, I don't really say, so you think you want to be a brand partner? I guess I have said that before, but I try to say something like, are we doing this? If it's going good and we're having a good conversation, are we doing this? Or sometimes I'll say, if I feel like I'm kind of having a posture over the person, I say, sounds like you're ready to sign up. Or another thing I say is, do you have any desire at all to do this? If there's someone sitting on the couch and they're kind of blank, I can't tell, I say, do you have any desire at all to do this? They're going to say yes or no.
Mine is, how do you keep your team motivated? I think this just goes back to knowing their why and doing a really good fast start game plan with them as far as individually for your team. As you become a leader and have more people on your team, I think one of the best things to do is just always be abreast of what's going on. There are a lot of changes since we are a new company and we're finding things and coming out with new programs. So if you want to be a leader, you need to know what the programs are. You need to be showing up. You need to show them that you're involved in this. If you want them to follow you, you have to lead them. So I think that's always motivating, and know what motivates them. Some people are carrot chasers. Other people do like the social aspect of it. Other people want to belong to something. So know what motivates them and ask them if you're not coming to things or if you're not doing activity, what do you want me to say to you? And that's something great to ask them in a fast start game plan. If you say you want this and you say you're going to be doing this, what would you like me to say to help motivate you if you're not following through with that?
What third-party tools can we use for prospects in countries we aren't open in yet? And I think Mindy went ahead and slammed that out of the park today.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sorry. What third-party tools can we use for prospects in countries we aren't open in yet? So most of the countries, I believe, we have a presentation. No Hong Kong, right? No Colombia, but we can use Mexico's presentation for Colombia. And so keep it strictly Nerium. For countries that we aren't open in yet, you want to, I mean, even in the countries we are open in yet, keep it to Nerium tools. It's safe. That's a rule I go by. It's safe, it's simple, it's duplicatable. Did I answer that? Okay, just making sure. Zoom presentation, so you can see their face. But again, we did learn that too, Mindy, in Japan. They don't like to show their face in Asia. So we got to learn that real hard and fast. And but Zooms do work, absolutely. And just tell them to cut the feed to their face if they don't want to be seen yet. But they do work. So.
I thought this one was really interesting. This came from a person that, and all these are going to stay anonymous, obviously, but this came from a person who'd been in the business for quite some time, so I was really kind of shocked that she wrote this question, but it just goes to show that everybody, has a journey. So even though you're making money with Nerium, are you proud of what you're doing? Wow. I mean, wow for the question, but I think you can all see it here from what you've heard from all of us today, that we've all shared our hearts, and I think you can tell that we are so proud of what we're doing. We are so proud of the legacy that we're building for our families. Connor, our son, got up and did a testimony at the market party last week. And I just, every day I'm proud of him, but he does things sometimes that I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is a direct result of what we are doing here. And he said, would you like to share? Can you remember what you wrote down, a few things in your phone? Okay, you're a baseball player, so jog on up here, boy. Jog it up.
I also think it's a process, just so you know, to answer that question. It's a process. Some people are embarrassed and some aren't. So, you know, it's a process.
So the only thing I said was, I just basically said that what Nerium meant to me was growth. And I've seen it in my mom, I've seen it in my dad, I've seen it as a whole in our family. And I think it all comes down to personal development, like all of these leaders have been talking about. So I just wrote down, when they asked me to give my testimony, I wrote down a few things in my notes so I wouldn't forget. Just simple little things that I've learned through the, since learning about Nerium, I guess. Thoughts are things, which Mom has mentioned a couple times. A positive mind is a more productive mind. My feelings are not my circumstances. There is no such thing as failure, only learning experiences. It is what it is, now what are you going to do about it? More growth comes from failure than success. And then Tony was mentioning something and it just hit me kind of like, Cole, you shared your story. Or right when you got up, you said it just hit me and I wanted to do this. And it kind of, I don't know what Tony said that made me think of this, but in the corporate world, they can take my job away, but they will never be able to take away the knowledge that I have gained from Nerium on how to be successful, not only in business, but in life. So all these things I can take away, and no matter if I, just like the weeble wobble my mom was talking about, learning these things allows me to get back up quicker and, see things from a different perspective than most people in the corporate world do. So, I hope I answered that there a little bit.
You're not too big to kiss me. Wow, that's cool. I love that kid. Hang on a second. I know. Okay. I'm very proud of that young man. Okay, if a brand partner ever considers quitting, what would you want them to consider first before throwing in the towel? Well, that to me is the simplest question to answer up here after what Mindy just described happened to Micaiah York. I don't think you need to say anything but that to someone who's considering quitting. Why would you consider quitting a business that you could become an instant six-figure earner just by, he reached out to a complete stranger on Facebook. He didn't know that guy. And that's what it's turned into for him. And it strikes me that every day people go to the gas station and purchase a lottery ticket and pour tons and tons of money into buying a lottery ticket. Your lottery ticket here is $500. And then it's a $30 back office and a $10 shipping and handling fee. And your percentages of finding somebody in Japan, Hong Kong, Australia, Germany, Mexico, Canada, on and on with the new countries that we're going to open. Somebody here in the States. Cole, your guy. He's from America, right? Find somebody here. That guy hasn't signed up yet. And if he does, guess what? He's instant multi-six-figure income. Instant. So if anyone in this room is considering quitting, I'm going to just be honest with you. I think you're complete. You need to reconsider.
All right. And so, Connor, that was awesome. Yeah, you got me. All right, so why should we do whatever it takes to get real? What?
Why would someone ask that?
I know, right? Well, because it's the obvious, Jessica, thank you. Why would you miss it? No, I mean, there are so many reasons. I can be up here for the rest of the time, but most importantly is this, and Raylyn has said this numerous times, is that when she first started, you know, they hardly done anything yet, but she went to the Get Real there that was in San Diego, right? Was San Diego the first one? And she came back with her hair on fire, ready to just blow up this business. And that's what it will do to anyone who goes there. Not only, you know, obviously, we've talked about it all day, is it your personal development? Man, there's so many great speakers they usually have there. You know, again, you get to be with like-minded people, all there for one reason and one reason only, that's to make you better and to build your business. All right? And, of course, then there's some awesome products that you get to look at firsthand a lot of times, too. And there's just so many things, like I said. And what's really cool there also is that a lot of that, what you do when you go on this trip, hello people, it's a tax write-off. You know? So there you go right there. In itself, why you can't miss this. All right? So do whatever it takes. I know someone who is near and dear to my heart. She did whatever it took to get there. If it meant staying in somebody's room who's a total stranger, and she went, and that girl is like awesome. All right, you know who I'm talking about, Jessica. And so, whatever it takes, guys, get there because it will be worth every penny, not only to you but to everyone else who's part of your team.
I can't wait till some of you are able to come up and do training when you hit NMD. How many of you really want to do that? I love it. Good. Okay. So, what is a mistake or mistakes that you have made that you have learned from the most? And that's really good, because I was able to think about it, and I think one of my biggest mistakes is not communicating with people. So, for example, if I sponsored Jen and then Jen sponsored Holly, okay, then if I'm going to work with Holly, I'm going to talk to Holly and I'm going to do all these different things with her, and Jen feels left out. My job is to tell Jen, don't take this personal, but Holly, you're new and you introduced her to me, and I'm going to be working with her to help you. Don't take that personal. Holly wants to work with me right now, okay? I've learned that is one of my biggest mistakes, is not communicating to people, because then Holly feels left out, Jen feels left out and undervalued. And no, Jen doesn't. Jen knows, it's like, go, do it, do my work, go. But you know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes it's the communication. Here's another big one I made, which is, and it's all in communication, not owning my team and looking at it and training my team well. And I realize that those are my biggest mistakes, is not training well enough, fast enough for some people, and then communicating really well with them to make sure that they understand what I'm doing if it looks, like that. Okay. And then it says, was that a biggie where you said, okay, we definitely won't do that again? Yeah, you always learn. No big deal.
Okay, mine says, how do we go back to the people we threw up on in the beginning? I love that question. Have any of you had word vomit on innocent bystanders? So So it's pretty, it's Nerium teal vomit, but it's still vomit. So when that happens and you have an awareness that you did it wrong, you just ask for forgiveness. And you go back to them and you say, hey, Steve, so remember when I shared Nerium with you? And Steve says, yeah. I haven't talked to you for 6 months because of all that. So you just say, listen, I was new, I was really excited, and I totally didn't do it right. Because you're a good friend, would you please allow me to share it with you again? I'm looking for some honest feedback, and I'm trying to make myself better. So as a friend, would you just give me feedback on how I'm sharing it? People like to help, right? So ask for their help. If they're a good friend, ask them to give you feedback. If it's a complete stranger that, maybe you've got a light acquaintance with, or a complete stranger, then you would just reach out and tell them, say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was reflecting the other day on how I shared Nerium with you, and I think I totally vomited Nerium all over you. And I didn't mean to do that. We have something new that's amazing, and I'd really love to share it with you, and I promise I won't do what I did last time. Would you be willing to take a look at my new product? So just come back apologetic, own what you did, raise your hand and say, I totally screwed that up, and then ask permission to share the new thing that you have, or to, just ask permission to share the old thing that you have that's new to them.
If everybody wants to go back through the line, we've got time for maybe one more for each NMD. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, cool. Back to you, Cole.
Okay, mine says, we all hear Mark Smith say, drive your team, drive your weekly paycheck. How do you do that? I think the most important thing about driving your team is overly communicating it, picking up the phone, having a personal conversation with that person. Okay, what's your goal? What are we going to do about it? And not relying on the Facebook box where 10 people are in it and nobody looks at it. You've heard the word intentional about 10 times, 20 times today. It's being intentional with that person and overly communicating it, making it happen. You can't make it happen for people, but you can kind of make it happen for them. You can get them started and get them pushing. And the weekly paycheck, this is something that I think we get away from a lot, but when this finally made sense to me, we all started making a lot more money. And I don't know about you, but the last 3 days of the month, when everyone is going crazy, I don't like it. I don't like it. Obviously, there's always going to be that push towards the end of the month, but if we start treating every Wednesday like it's the end of the month, we're going to be, towards the end of the month, there's always going to be that push, but, the higher your weekly check is, the bigger your monthly check is. So, communicating through your team, okay, if it's 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, how many customers can we get in a day to make the check next week bigger? And just having that sense of urgency, and eventually you can build a culture in your team of push the weekly check, push the weekly check. So I think it's just about overly communicating it.
Okay, mine is, besides the Slight Edge, what book has been worthy of a reread? And you have a top 3 book list. I love books. This is a great question. So I'm going to give you like 50. I think rereading books is great. I don't know who some author said it. Like, instead of reading, 50 books this year, what if you just read the same book 50 times? Because I think every time you reread it, of course, you find something new out of it. So Slight Edge is one of the best ones to reread because it always just reminds you of the fundamentals. And then I think you should reread every book. Just every so often, but pick your few favorites that really speak to you. Because I think some books somebody will recommend and you start and you're like, this is not for me. That's okay. Put it down. Find one that is for you. So if it's not speaking your language, don't push through if it doesn't feel like it's speaking to you. You can find something else. But my top three, I would say, are, aside from the Slight Edge, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It's kind of the same philosophy as the Slight Edge. Was the editor of Success Magazine, but it has a lot of the same principles, and he does a really good job of articulating that. And then You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Great for affirmations, great for breaking it down, making you feel like you can rock it out and just be you. The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. That is a book I would never have picked up. It's big and it has this old dude on the front, which is awesome, but like it just didn't like speak to me. You know, it wasn't something I would have picked up. It is brilliant, and it's broken down into little chapters. You could literally read a chapter a day or a chapter a week, and it will change your life. I guarantee it. Then The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, who's the guy that did Chicken Soup for the Soul. He was one of our keynote speakers. I don't need to call him an old guy. He's awesome. And then The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. It's really, really good. And it's a quick, short read.
Hey. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your baby brand partner self that would most help your business move forward? You don't need to know everything. In fact, you don't need to know that much. You need to make a big mess and open the door for your upline to come in and clean it up for you. Just like that, and don't waver to the left or to the right.
What's the best piece of advice you've been given in this business? Probably most people already know my best piece of advice, but my best piece of advice was given to me by David Byrd. And Mike and I were on a call with him one time, and I was venting about something, and he let me vent, and then he stopped me in mid-sentence, and he said, "Okay, all right, I've heard you, and I understand, but that's already happened. So," he goes, "I want you to take this advice, and I want you to use it in as many areas of your life as you possibly can. And that is, it is what it is. Now what are you going to do about it?" And then he said to me that I'll never forget, he said, 90% of the population lives in their problems, and only 10% even consider a solution. So a lot of people like to live in that, oh, poor me, and this is my story, and I'm going to tell you again, and this is going to be my same story next month, and this is my same story 6 months from now. And really, I read in a book called The Big Magic, which is awesome. Nobody really cares about your story. Nobody really cares about your story. They only care about their own. So if you're telling your same story over and over and over again, and you're not progressing, guess what? Nobody really cares, because they have their own story, their own family, their own struggles, and they're telling their own story. So if your story isn't working for you, you need a new story. So it is what it is. Now what are you going to do about it?
Mine is, what do you do when you are having a bad day? What is your way of getting out of the funk? Well, there's probably lots of different ways to get out of it. What works for me is I have a YouTube page, and I have gone and liked and made YouTube videos my favorites. So I have a favorites list of inspirational videos that I watch if I get into that position where I'm struggling, thinking that nobody wants to join my business, or it's not moving forward fast enough, or whatever. Go watch something. Go listen to a song. Go read it. Go read your book. Go get your personal development. But do something. And sometimes we let our silencer get in the way. And sometimes your silencer is a good friend. Sometimes it's a family member. And you can't let people silence you. No matter, I don't care what rank they are, I don't care how successful in business they are, I don't care if it's Mark Smith. If that person that you're around is not building you up and making you feel better about yourself and making you feel like you are worth, like what you have to say, it's worth saying. And you have to believe that. And you have to get around people that inspire you to open up and let your voice be heard. I am so guilty of that. I am so guilty of letting the fear of what someone's going to think of me by opening my mouth keep my mouth closed. So don't, if you're in that funk, get around people that lift you up and that make you feel good about yourself, and stop hanging around the people that don't lift you up. That you don't need them in your life.
Mike, I think you're an amazing speaker. Thank you. Hey, that's my ear. All right. All right, so, all right, we're about up on time, so I'll make this really quick here, but it's pretty cool question here. Every week, our market party is the same presentation. Is it really that important that I show up each week? My goodness, that's one of the $1 million questions. My answer to that would be most certainly yes. The reason why I say that is that, and I shouldn't say me, David Byrd has said this. For those of you that get up to, when everybody gets in here to the senior director or above, you have the opportunity to listen to David Byrd more often. And what he's always stated, like, you listen to day in, day out. All right, you listen to the CD. You can listen to it every day. You repeat, you repeat, you repeat. And what's cool about that is the more you hear it, all right, the different things that you'll pick up on, all right, different nuggets. Each and every time you listen to it, even though you've listened to it day in, day out in your car or at home or wherever, there's going to be a different nugget you'll take out of it. Same thing with the market parties. Is that there's different people doing the presentation, okay? Just this week, Jen and I used to always do the front half, and Jim would do the back half. I would do the product, and Jim would do the business. Well, we flipped the script, and she did the product half, and I did the business half. And I heard so many people say, "Oh, because you guys did that differently, we each said something different and got a different nugget. Oh, that was great. I want to write that down." So day in or week in, week out. It's so important to attend those just because of, Connor said it earlier, and so did Cole, was like, someone's going to say something, boom, put something right in your head that'll help you personally, but it can also help your team grow even better. So, there you go.
Plus envision if nobody shows up, okay? We're all brand partners in here, and if you don't show up, and there's 3 people in the room, and somebody brings a guest, that looks terrible, doesn't it? And we all need each other. So if we are not supporting a local market party, just envision it not being there, so that when you have a guest to bring, nobody's there. That's why we go. And we show up to work once a week, for Pete's sake. Once a week! We can do that. Okay, but I still brag about it every now and then. It's like, I'm done, I gotta Hey, we're all just human, right? It's a discipline. It's a discipline, and I show up to go to work. And it's fun. And I love it when I'm there. And I'm trying not to drink 2 glasses of wine every time. I know. That's just a joke. I know. No, I'm funny anyway. Okay. Here we go. How is your day planned out once you are doing this full time? That's a perfect one for me because I do it full time. And I'm going to tell you, I was very disciplined because I came out of the corporate world and I had a planner and I worked with a planner. So it was different for me to be very disciplined. And I worked specific hours in the morning, and I worked specific hours in the evening, and I worked I just worked. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very disciplined. And I'll tell you, the older I've gotten, the less disciplined I am. And I have to go back to disciplining myself to specific times, and it's worth it. If you make out that plan that you do this and this, it's just like going to your job from this time to this time, this is what I do, right? So you don't want to burn out, and so I do structure my day, and everything that is on my day is in my planner. And I still I reactively, David Bird has, I work with Jenny Bird now, but she has been working with me, and so did David before, to stop being so reactive. I picked up the phone all the time. That is stupid for me, because I was always working. And so for me, I had to discipline myself to quit picking up the phone all the time, right? So from 4 to 6, I don't work. If you call me from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, I don't pick up the phone because that's my time. And then at 10 o'clock, and I'm going to tell you, I break my rules all the time. But it's discipline. You must be disciplined. You have to structure your day. And you have to plan that day before, the next day. And I plan my entire month. And then I plan my entire week. And I'm always working on scheduling. And then I schedule time off too for reading and stuff like that.
I'm going to piggyback on that. That was great. And it's a great question, and it's a question directed to full-time. And I want to share with you what we've heard on leadership calls that I really appreciated, because this is my first time doing direct sales. And it was coached to us by a 5-star, and I can't give credit. It might have been someone amazing, 5-star. So nevertheless, she said, think right now, each of you individually, how much time do you have a day to give your Nerium business? And now I want you to take that time, and she said you take 60% of the time and you put it into your business. Take another 20% and you work with your team. For if you're higher up and you're maybe Lexus qualified, you're going to work with your leaders. And then you take the other 20% and you work with the new people. So let's say you have an hour a day, because most of us come into this and we're working full time. That means you're going to take 40 minutes and you're going to spend that working on your business. You're going to be doing your new contacts and your prospects follow up. And then you're going to take another 10 minutes and you're going to reach out to your team. And then you're going to take another 10 minutes and, you're going to take 10 minutes to reach out to your leaders, and another 10 minutes and you're going to reach out to the new people on your team. Maybe it's a welcome call. Maybe it's just to send them a word of encouragement, let them know you saw that they got a new customer, give them some props. But I hope that helps each of you, because when I heard it, I really appreciated it being brand new, and I saw a lot of people say that they were brand new to this industry. So I just want to piggyback off what Mindy said. And as you grow full time, then we call Mindy and we say, okay, now I've got more time, how do I do this?
Discipline.
Yeah. So I got 20 questions here. No, this first one in front of me, it says, what do you do to make your preferred customers feel special? It's a great question. I like to go to the back office and look at my customers and appreciate each one for how long they've been my customer. If you go into your back office and you go through your customer's profile, it'll tell you how long they've been a customer. It'll tell you how many points, how many dollars in points. It doesn't tell you the specific dollar. It tells you how many points in your CCV volume, which is your customer commissionable volume. If you know that you're always making the top volume of 25%, then you see that number, and let's say it's 1,000. You know that you've made $250 from that individual being your customer. If you've made $250, could you give them a little something? Maybe a $5, $10 gift card? Write them a letter and say, hey, I just want you to know I really appreciate that you're my customer. Here's a coffee on me, or a hot tea on me, and I'm putting in some cards with your business, with your website, your customer website on it. And if you know anyone who wants to use this product, this is your website, and if 3 people sign up, you're going to get your product for free. So that's one thing I do. I have a customer that's been with me for 3.5. She came in December of 2012, so whatever the math is on that. When EHT came out, I sent her a box of EHT, and I said, I just want you to know I appreciate you being my customer.
That's awesome.
So, it's up to you. You don't have to go that big, but I really appreciated it. And she brought in 5 customers. Okay, so is it worth it to spend a little money and shower them with some love? Absolutely. But I tell you what, they really appreciate just a handwritten card. When was the last time you personally received a handwritten letter in the mail from somebody? Tony said not from AT&T, and I pay that bill every month for years.
The thing that we were going to pass out, I think we should wait till next time.
Okay.
So Jen and I worked on this little sheet that we were going to hand out to you guys that you could take home, and it was kind of like a reference sheet on, how to do some things and just some tips and tricks or whatever. But it's not going to do it justice if we just pass it out. So maybe that'll give you a little incentive to come back next time, because it's really going to be helpful. It's kind of like a bookmark that you're going to save and put it on cardstock so you won't throw it away, hopefully. So I think that to do you guys a service, we'll just spend some time next time going over that rather than just pass it out to you, if that's okay. Connor and Mallory are in the back. We're going to do pre-sale for next time. It's $5 cheaper if you do it now. Plus you get in the drawing for a personal development book. And I just want to say again that I am, and I know we all feel this way about each other, but I'm so blessed to be surrounded by everyone in this room. I'm so blessed to have you guys up here as just support and a soft place to fall if we need it. But this market, I loved. My nugget for today was from Lacey, and Kansas City. We're pruning. We've been in the pruning stage, but look at how many amazing people are in this room, and amazing people. Yes, give yourself that. Amazing people find amazing people. And so right now, if you could imagine everybody in this room just bringing one more person next month with you, whether it be someone who's not on your team, that is on your team that's not here, or your brand new brand partner, because a lot of us are going to go out and get 3 brand partners this month. Let's pack this room. No, let's not pack this room. We're going to pack the Sheraton. The Sheraton. We're not going to be here next month. The Sheraton. So thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate